Hello YouTube, Bricks Unbound here with another LEGO Ninjago review. Today we're looking at set number 70603, the Raid Zeppelin. Comes with 294 pieces. In the United States retails for $29.99. This is probably my most anticipated set from actually all these new Ninjago sets. I just really like the airship concept and have been looking forward to this ever since the first pictures were revealed, so let's go ahead and see if it lives up to what I was hoping for. We'll start out with the smaller build of the set, being Zane's little flyer here. This, I would say, is not terribly exciting. It's definitely not my favorite part of the set by any means. It has a couple of these Ninjago spinner pieces just clipped onto the side, so you can adjust those for different looks when it's flying. And then it has a couple of the stud shooters here. But how they arrange this, it looks good with the little shurikens up here, but it's really actually kind of hard to shoot these off, because you can see they attached it upside down, so you have to fold the little wings down and get your fingers in there to launch that. And it does launch, you know, just like any other stud shooter, and that went, it looks like, into my Christmas Village stuff, so that's probably gone. But so they work okay, but it's really hard to actually access them. But I do think the shurikens look nice. It does have a little nice design there. And there is a sticker on the front of it. And Zane doesn't stand on there by any studs. It's just held on by the handlebar, so he does have to have his hands on that, or at least one of them, if he wants to fly it. There we go. Let's move on then to the little Jin blade in this set. It has Jay's element trapped in it there, so lightning. And again, these swords, the hilts, they're really neat and super useful with all the different attachment points. At least I would imagine they are. I haven't really messed around with them too much, but anything that has lots of bar attachments at fun angles can be useful. So now on to what I've been waiting for, the Zeppelin itself. And starting off right away, I'll go ahead and say yes, this is a small ship. You can see we have two figures on here, Clancy and Doubloon right now, and they're pretty much in the two spots that you can actually stand figures. I'll go ahead and take his broom out to kind of show you the front here. A little room there for a cannon in front, and then he stands here, or you can fit a figure on the side. It's just a little tricky to get them lined up right. So it is definitely a small set, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because as you remember, the name of the set is the Raid Zeppelin, and generally in a raid you'll probably actually want smaller, faster ships than some giant, you know, battleship of some kind, if you're just trying to do a quick little attack and get away. So I don't think that is such a big deal size-wise, and it also makes it an actual affordable set. Moving along on the front, underneath the cannon, we've got kind of a dragon skull, it looks like, mounted up here. I like their little horn details. They really did a lot of good details in this set overall that weren't always necessary. On the side we have just some little Exoforce arms with claws attached to them. It's interesting here because with these, when you pick up the set, a lot of times you push these in, and you can see that orange blade piece just kind of gets bent in. That just seems a little off, because that would potentially get that piece bent or even damage the clip it's attached to. It just seems a little strange for a LEGO set to use that is so easily bent in like that. It just doesn't really seem like a legal design, I guess. As we go down the side here, we do have a little barrel of dynamite here. That's not attached by any studs, because that is activated by this play feature. Where you pull back on this, you can already see stuff start to move, and there's a trap door in there that just lets the dynamite in its barrel fall right out the bottom. So that works really well. Fun to do little, you know, air raids on places if you want. You can be flying it across and drop it right on Zane. That hole there, as you saw, it does have a little bit of problems falling out sometimes, because this is only too wide. So really, if you want to drop a minifigure out of it, it doesn't really work that well. You can see Zane is just kind of stuck there. Oops, just dumped some water out of Clancy's bucket. But yeah, that's a little disappointing that you can't use it to drop minifigures. Not very well. If you fold their arms up to their side, then you can see he falls right through. But who's going to be standing right here like this on a pirate ship that are his enemies without his weapons drawn, because if he has anything in his hands, he's not going to fit through. Then at the back of the ship here, we have Doubloon right now steering the ship. He does come with a couple of swords. We'll get more detail on the figures later. So there's a nice amount of room here for him to stand. He can either be facing the wheel or looking back at these nice control panels. The top one up here is a sticker, but the other two are prints, which are still relatively new. And good details there. Although it still confuses me a little bit in Ninjago how high-tech some things can be and then how low-tech others are. Because I mean, this is still an airship. It's not like anything that would have that high of detail paneling and controls you wouldn't think. But whatever works, I suppose. These up here are actually printed pieces, so that's very nice. That's actually the only printed thing other than these two panels in this whole set. But there's not a whole lot of stickers, just some little detail ones here and then matching ones on the other side. Then on the back we have a nice flag. This is kind of the more plasticky material. It's not a cloth flag at all. But I like the design on that too. A couple of cross katana and little skull with a pirate head on it. Very nice. Or not a pirate hat, I guess, but a kind of Japanese style hat like you'd see in rice paddies back in the day. On the sides we also have these white versions of the pirate swords attached. And then for the balloon itself, which looks really good from this side, the only problem with it is with how they had to attach it, it doesn't give you the full 8 of these big hot air balloon style pieces. This is what we were originally using in friend sets. So you can't actually create a full balloon out of just this set. I understand why, for structural stability reasons, because I mean, otherwise you just attach it back here, which would not work very well. And on the front of it, that looks pretty good too. Have some extra, as I said, lots of extra details in the set, just some little spike pieces. Looks like I'm about to knock that one off. But gives it some more detail. The problem, of course, being with that gap there, it does look a bit strange from the front. But I would say from pretty much every other angle, from the sides, and really even from the back, it can be blocked pretty well. It does look good. Now let's go ahead and start in on the figures in this set. This set does come with 3 figures. We have Zane on the left, followed by Clancy, and then Doubloon on the far right here. And these are some very nice looking figures, I would say. I really like the new print for all the ninjas, but I especially like Zane's here in the black with the white accents. Looks very nice. Then over to Clancy, he's got a broom and a bucket here for swabbing the decks. And I put a little transparent light blue stud in there because you get an extra one, because those are the same ones that are used for the little shooters on Zane's flyer. Just put it in there to give it the water effect. I think it looks nice, and you get that extra stud. Although you could also, of course, use that to reload his flyer when you lose them by shooting them off. And the balloon comes with 2 of these nice pirate swords. Very good detailing on those. I really am liking these swords. Then I'm going to go ahead and take off their armor here. Well, first let's look at the back. So Zane comes with this new scabbard design, which can hold 2 katanas both pointing the same direction, as opposed to before where they had to be crossed. I think that looks really nice, especially from the front there, and they just slide in and out very easily. And then we'll take off the armor and things off everybody here to show you all of the details. Okay. So here they are one more time from the front without that stuff blocking it. The shoulder pauldrons I left on just because they don't make that much of a difference. So as I said, very nice detailing here. I like the pirates the most. Probably Zane's does look really good, but I'm personally more interested in the pirate figures in this new line of Ninjago. And then the back, we have alternate faces on both minifigs that have regular heads. Clancy, of course, just has his eyes printed on there. And Doubloon's face is interesting here, so take a look at it right now. Okay, now look at the other side. So he has this big grin thing going on here, right? And here it kind of looks like that's at the top. So actually, if you flip this over, look at that face. See, now it looks very similar to the front here, with this being his mouth and his angry eyes. See, yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. It's not quite exactly the same, because this one has that black line there for his mouth on this side if it's right side up. But those are pretty similar, which is quite strange, but I still like it. And then for Zane's alternate face, he just has a like visor on there with, it's kind of hard to see, but there is some writing on it. But I would say 3 excellent figures for this set. None of them I think are bad. I really like the pirates especially, and Clancy. I like getting the I guess, human type figures in Ninjago. They're always very neat. Now let's go ahead and move on to the final thoughts on this set. Now for my final thoughts on this set, I would definitely say pick this set up if you're interested at all in the new theme. I think it did pretty well live up to my expectations. I like lots of weaponry being mounted onto the side here, with a cannon up here, stud shooters on the side. This cannon does actually fire too, of course. It's one of those you pull it back, and the cylinders for it are stored right here. So I like those play features. One thing that's a little bit unfortunate is not really the size, but it is hard to get back into this area here to pose up the figures, at least with my, you know, big adult hands it is. Maybe it's not a problem for kids. And then also, Zane's flyer is the other thing that, I understand wanting to give the good guys, you know, some way to actually get up to the ship to fight, but this is kind of weak. I would have really rather him just had kind of a jetpack thing instead of this big thing that used up a lot of parts for the set and some fairly big molds. It could have been used to even adding a little bit more bulk maybe to the Zeppelin itself. That said, it is still a good set. Like I said, the size doesn't bother me because it is supposed to be a ship for doing raids, which makes sense if it's a little bit smaller. And one other big bonus about the set that I haven't said yet are actually the extra pieces. I usually don't care too much about what I get for extras, but this set definitely had some nice ones. So I'll pull them out here, the most notable ones. You get plenty of the little studs and things, but I actually got an extra pirate flag in mine. Get another one of these white pirate skull swords, extra blade from the Jin blade, 2 sets of pauldrons because the pirates are actually in different bags in this set, so each one you get an extra set of those. And then you get a full set of extra shurikens, which is fine. I mean, they're definitely great parts to have. I was just surprised because you only need 2 for this, so these are really just extras, but you can have Zane throw those at the pirates if you want, and of course you get an extra katana, which is fairly normal, but the big deal, for me at least, was an extra pirate flag. I mean, now I can make a custom airship if I want and still have it flying the pirate colors there. But yes, I would say pick this set up if you are interested at all in this new Ninjago theme, or in steampunk things, or airships in general. It comes with lots of good parts too for building some mocks, so you don't really have to keep it in this set with this color scheme, although I do think this looks quite nice. I hope you have enjoyed this review, and I will talk to you later.